It's my great honor to introduce our commencement speaker for this evening, Mr. Bruce Culpepper. Mr. Culpepper is easily one of the most successful former students we've ever had here at Northeast, or in Alabama for that matter. He accentuated his 38-year career with the Shell Oil Company by becoming president and United States country chair of the company. That's a remarkable achievement. Shell Oil is one of the 5 largest publicly traded oil and gas companies in the world. That's in the world. It's not just in Jackson or DeKalb County or Alabama, but in the world. As of this month, Shell Oil has a market capitalization value of $199 billion, if you can imagine that. Mr. Culpepper is a native of DeKalb County, having been born in Fort Payne in 1958, then moving to his family's farm near Fife in 1966 with his parents. He attended Fife Public Schools and graduated from Fife High School in 1976. He is remembered as having been an outstanding student athlete at Fife High School, having excelled academically and playing both basketball and football for the Red Devils. Mr. Culpepper then enrolled at Northeast for the 1977-78 academic year, and then spent a year here with us and transferred on to the University of Alabama, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Human Resources Management. He graduated from the School of Commerce and Business, and he is now considered one of their most distinguished graduates, just like he has been a former student here. Mr. Culpepper then set out on a 38-year career with Shell Oil and rose, as I mentioned, to the president and the United States country chair of the company. During this time, Mr. Culpepper held a variety of leadership positions throughout the United States and internationally. As a corporate leader, in addition to all his successes, Mr. Culpepper also was a passionate outdoorsman and conservation expert for the company. He focused Shell investments on projects that made a difference in the environments in the communities where Shell operated, and those are still being felt today. Mr. Culpepper then and since has served on numerous national organizations, including the National Fish and Wildlife Federation, the Building Conservation Trust, and the Congressional Sportsman Foundation. Mr. Culpepper remains an avid outdoorsman. I should mention that Mr. Culpepper's contributions to the country didn't end with his retirement from Shell Oil. He currently is very involved in volunteer work that's at the heart of the future of Alabama. In August of 2024, for example, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey appointed Mr. Culpepper as one of the 8 distinguished business leaders to the Alabama Growth Alliance. This board is tasked with driving economic growth and innovation throughout Alabama. So you can't find a board more important than that, the future of the economy of our state. Mr. Culpepper, I might add, moved back home to Alabama with his family, and they live on their farm in Marshall County near Guntersville. There's just so much more that I could say about Mr. Culpepper. I could go on and on, but I will stop. And for more information, I refer you to his biography that's in the program that you have. I will say that in preparation for him being here tonight, I had the honor of getting to know Mr. Culpepper, and he's such an engaging, friendly, knowledgeable, insightful man. He's very modest and unassuming, and I can safely say that he probably doesn't like the attention that I'm giving him now. We are so proud of his accomplishments and so proud to have him back home here at Northeast. Please make welcome Mr. Bruce Culpepper.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell, and you're right. I don't really like all the attention, and most of it is overstated, but I appreciate it. So, good evening, graduates, family, friends, and faculty. It is truly an honor to be here with you tonight. Graduates, this is a day for you. It's for you to celebrate and for us to recognize your significant life milestone, one that you should be proudly cherishing tonight, and all the rest of us should be proudly celebrating. But I think it's also important to look around, as your SGA president said, look at all the other people in the audience who are your family, your friends, your professors, anybody else you can think of that helps you get here tonight, and give them a little bit of a nod and a smile and thanks for what support they gave you to help you reach this point in your life. This ceremony marks an end to a stage of your life, an important one. But it also, more importantly, begins another stage of your life. So when you walk across this stage in a few minutes, you will have crossed an important finish line. But tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up and find yourself standing on the starting block to the rest of your life. And while that may sound like a scary proposition, particularly to some of your parents, it should not be, because the world is full of opportunity. It is begging for your generation to step into critical roles and positions of leadership necessary for our community, our state, our country, and the world at large to flourish. So don't be afraid. You can do it. Roughly 47 years ago, and I know Dr. Campbell's already established that I'm older than dirt, but there's some other people in here that are about my same age, so anyway, it makes me feel slightly better. And I didn't realize that until I got out my calculator and start thinking, how long have I been out of school? 47 years, I think, roughly today. I stood here in this same sort of position, not as a graduate, but I was at this same station in life that you just now are. I had just completed my freshman year here at Northeast Community College. And my story is not necessarily one of a straight line to anything. I say, the way I describe it, I was fortunate to have enrolled here the previous fall, somewhat by happenstance. And what I mean by that is I really didn't have a life plan. I didn't have a job. I know Dr. Campbell gave me credit to be an outstanding student and athlete, and I did have good grades and all that, but I didn't have good test scores on the ACT or whatever we took at the time, so I wasn't going to be heading to Alabama or Auburn right away. I was going to be heading to Montana to take a job. And fortunately, I had the good sense to come here because I thought pursuing additional education would be a better option. At Northeast, I found a community of other hardworking students and dedicated faculty willing to help me learn that I was capable of learning at the next level, because I'm not sure I thought I was capable at that stage. After a year here, my grades were good enough that I enrolled and was accepted at Alabama. I did well enough there, mainly motivated by fear of failure and a few other things, that I graduated with honors. The other things was running out of money. I graduated on time with honors in the spring of '81. Then I got recruited by this company called Shell Oil Company, where I took a job in New Orleans. That was the main draw, where I met my lovely wife, who's sitting over here. And I spent the next 38 and a half years working for one of the largest, most interesting, most complex, most global companies on the face of the planet, until January of '19, when I retired as president and country chair. I've sometimes described that journey to others a little more humorously by saying I was just lucky enough to catch a bus. I got on the bus called Shell. Didn't really know where it was going, but it took me all over the world. Taught me all kinds of things, and I rode it until they told me to get off back home. Not too bad for a little guy from Fife, a little country boy who wasn't very worldly and didn't really have much of a plan. So graduates, my main message to you, if you don't hear another word I say after now, is to realize if I can do it, you can do it. So none of my professional or other life experiences would have been possible had I not been here. Without Northeast Alabama Community College, there would have been no University of Alabama. There would have been no career with Shell. So I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that my time here truly was a springboard. It changed the trajectory of my life. So Dr. Campbell, to you, faculty, administrators, all of you that are associated with NACC today, and all of you that were back in the day and have been in the past, I thank you for what you do and have done to continue to give people like myself a chance to chase our dreams. So thank you very much. Now on to the serious part. When Dr. Campbell asked me to make this talk, probably the most stressful thing I've done since I retired is sort of figure out what can I say possibly that you graduates would give some credence to, because I know you're thinking I'm older than dirt. And that's fine. And I could have chosen any other topic. You know, I thought about talking about this little handheld device that I know all of you have out there, and the impact it's had on all of our lives, and how technology's changed things, and how cultures have changed, how the world's changed, anything I could have picked. But the more I thought about it, I think I want to pick something that is more foundational to try to share with you. Because I spent a lot of time in my career working in large organizations filled with all kinds of different people. So I've had a chance to observe lots of humans and a lot of large systems. And I started thinking about my own life and my own career story and my own leadership journey. And I came up with a few things I'm going to share with you. So the first part, a little bit about me and about you, because we have shared roots here. So what I came up with thinking about my success is feeling blessed that I was raised a country boy in Fife, Alabama, or in North Alabama, however you want to define that. And I'm not sure I would have considered that a blessing 40 years ago, because I was competing with people that had different lives, had come out of different educational institutions, probably looking down their nose at a little country boy from North Alabama with a degree from Alabama. But one of the things I realized as I went through life and the many challenges that gets thrown at you is that the lessons in life that we learn because we are growing up and did grow up, I grew up, you have grown up in what I would call a rural or semi-rural area. Lots of life lessons get imprinted on your DNA that are going to help you through life. And in my case, you know, the things I wrote down were, I never forgot where I came from throughout my leadership journey. And I think I drew heavily on my country values, and I can talk a bit about that more. But life lessons that I learned, and I think you learn as being a part of this kind of world, we all learn to be neighborly. We learn to be resourceful, because sometimes we're not always blessed with the most resources. I never tried to become someone I wasn't, meaning I retained my authenticity. So I was a country bumpkin pretty much through my whole life. And I used many a barnyard analogy in leadership team meetings trying to explain why human beings were not doing what they were supposed to be doing. And as my mother said, I don't think I ever got too big for my britches, which is her way of saying, don't you go out and become a little arrogant SOB, because that's not what you are. So with that, I mentioned some of the values that I think are important and were important to me. I think we learn how to respect other people. In today's world where there's so much chatter around deep divisions in the country and all that stuff, I don't see that in my life. I hope you don't see that in yours. I think people that live in the country respect each other. We go along, we get along, we help each other out, we take care of people in need. We have a respect for the outdoors, respect for the natural environment. And all that's important, and all that should be stuff that's imprinted deeply in your psyche and in your DNA as you walk out of here tonight and think about how you're going to take on the world. When things get tough, think back to that. I think those are sort of some of the foundational bedrocks that helped me. It can help you. But I would also go on to say, you know, I've done many a leadership talk over the years, and I can package this, slice this, and dice this in different ways, but I've spent the last 2 weeks changing this speech up to try to figure out what are the 2 or 3 things I could tell you that I think I observed most in my career, which was, almost 40 years, and now 10 more years after that, still doing stuff that I think defines people that have been successful and not. So I came up with 4 items, 4 areas I want to share with you. And I would describe these as things to put in your personal toolbox. If you're hearing them for the first time, which you won't be, I'd say be curious about them, be interested in them, try to figure out how to go practice them, turn them into attributes that define you, whether you want to be a leader or whether you want to be an individual contributor, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a school teacher, whatever. I think these things are life skills that serve all of us very well as we go through the world. The first one, and these don't necessarily have an order, but because I'm talking about them in order, they do sort of have an order in my mind. The first one I would say is the power of a positive attitude. Whether you like it or not, your attitude is your lens on life, which means it shapes how you see the world, but it also colors how other people see you. You can't always control what's going to happen to you in life, but you do have control over how you respond and react to it. So I would say your attitude is contagious, and you want people to catch it. If it's not contagious in the right way, they're going to run the other direction. It will influence how people perceive you, who wants to hang out with you, and more importantly, what doors of opportunity either get opened for you or closed for you. Having a positive attitude doesn't mean that you naively stick your head in the sand and ignore all the world problems. The world is not a perfect place. Instead, it means seeing the world and seeing the problems through a lens of optimism, opportunity, and possibility rather than skepticism and hopelessness. And I worry about this. In this day and age of primarily negative media, particularly on social media, any media source you go to, you just want to go crawl off in the corner and slit your wrists mostly. And I call it the vortex of negativity. So be careful. I know you're all on your cell phones, and you should be, because that's how people communicate and interact with each other. But you got to be careful not to get sucked into what I call that vortex of negativity and let that cloud your view of the world, because the world is not like that when you get out there in the bigger world. There's always been problems. I thought a little bit about when I graduated college in 1981 to try to tie it to a current event. I think the mortgage interest rate on the first house Marguerite and I bought was 18.5%. So think about that. We're all worked up right now over a 6% interest rate, but it was 3 times that when I came out of college. And I don't remember crawling off in the corner to slit my wrist. I just thought, well, that's how things are. And when we could afford it, we bought a house and paid a ridiculous rate, but that's what we did. I think inflation was 10.5%. So my point in mentioning this is to say these things are transitory. They come and go. They don't define who we are. They don't define who our country is. So be careful on how you think about that. And the other one under this category I'd ask you to think about as students. Use your mind. Use your critical thinking skills that your parents or you yourself, if you're paying your way through school, have paid for you to acquire, to sort through all the barrage of information that you get, form your own opinions, and most importantly, actively contribute your time and ability to solving problems rather than just sitting on the fence and complaining about them. That's how you become a player. That's how you involve yourself in things that make a difference. So be curious, be a sponge for learning new things. If you do all those things, you'll have more opportunities and more doors open for you than you can walk through. So that's optimism and positive attitude. The second one is work hard and put in extra effort. And I know that's a cliche, and people throw that around all the time. My mother used to tell me when I didn't want to go hoe the garden or mow the yard that work hard, or hard work never killed anyone, so go out and do it, because I tell you to do it. But I realize we don't all have to do that. But I would say hard work is unavoidable. It is the thing that defines character. It's the thing in the real world that consistent and sustained effort put toward helps people achieve worthwhile goals. I would say in any profession, hard work is what separates people from being mediocre or excellent. Hard work and extra effort translate potential into performance. I would call it the great equalizer, particularly when you get out in the big world and people have different educational and work experience backgrounds. How hard you work equalizes everybody no matter what. So it's he or she that can translate whatever you're being asked to do into results that gets rewarded, not where you went to college, not what your degree says, it's hard work. There are many talented people in the world who have education and background necessary to be on the top of their game, but most of them don't get there. You think about sports analogies, you listen to Coach Saban talk, most people don't get to be the point they reach their full potential because most people don't want to do the hard work necessary to get there. So as young professionals, I would encourage you to make it a habit to go above and beyond, because I do believe responsibilities and new opportunities flow toward people who your leaders know will put in the hard work and the extra effort to get things done. The third category I came up with is accountability. And accountability in the modern world is a scary term to somebody, or to some people, I should say, because it implies somebody is going to be held account. There could be consequences associated with the lack of accountability. And that's true. But in any successful organization, the principles of accountability are followed by the people that work there. So get used to it is what I would say. Embrace the principles of accountability. Understand what it means. It's not a black box. It's pretty simple stuff when you get down to it. And whether you're working, I don't care where you're working and what you're doing, or whether you're an individual contributor running your own business, it applies. It's a core belief system most people have, and if you figure it out, it's easy to communicate with each other and it's easy to stay on the same page with each other. I call it simple and common sense stuff, and it starts with taking ownership for your thoughts and actions. You know, they're not somebody else's thoughts and actions, they're yours. So take ownership for them, own up to them. That's where it starts. It goes then from making commitments and keeping commitments. People that go through life making promises and not delivering on them don't have a good time in life, you know, because people quit calling them to ask them to do things if they know they can't count on them to do what they said they were going to do. So I call it the say-do gap. Don't let there be a gap. Make sure when you go out in the big world, say what you're going to do and do what you're going to say. And if you're working somewhere, whether it be in college or out in the real world getting paid for it, there will be times when things don't go according to plan. That's when you need to figure out how to be proactive in problem solving and communication. It's okay to come to me if you're working for me and tell me I'm in the ditch, you know, had a wreck, my business plan is not going well. But I'd like you to tell me that when I got time to pull you out of the ditch mid-year and get you back on the road to success, not at the end of the year. So just keep that in mind as you go out into the world, because there are people that have that in their mindset and are willing to give you plenty of help if you tell them I need some help, and you go off and take their advice and try to apply that help. And lastly in this area is willing to take feedback. I run into people these days that seem to not have the ability to receive feedback. Feedback is a gift. If somebody cares enough about you to say you could improve on something, my advice would be listen to them. Sometimes it hurts, sometimes it makes you feel bad, but if somebody's willing to share it with you, that means they care about you. If they're not sharing it with you, that's when you should be worried. And if you take their feedback, learn from your mistakes, life will be good. The last one I would say is last but not least. Sense of purpose is what I call it. When I talk to people your age these days, sometimes I sense a feeling of worry and angst. People are worried about where they're going in life, worried about their careers, worried about what kind of work-life balance they're going to have, worried about all kinds of things. And I get it, you know, to 30 or 40-year career sounds scary, sounds daunting, but be careful. You can wake up one day and be me. It passes by in a hurry. So I would say, I stand here before you tonight, having been retired 7 years. I wish I could get back on that bus that I was riding in Shell and continue to ride, because I was fortunate enough to end up in a company and in a profession where I could find purpose in what I was doing. I don't know that I had some idea of what my sense of purpose was when I was your age. I'm sure I did not. But over time, I found a sense of purpose in what I was doing. And as the years clicked by, that purpose became leadership. It became helping young people develop themselves, otherwise known as development of talent. And the satisfaction coming from knowing that the company I was working for was a force for good around the world, trying to make sure we provided affordable, reliable energy and many of the things that Dr. Campbell mentioned to make the world a better place. So 38 years flew by before I could blink. So my wish for each of you is to find something to do that you really like and find somewhere to do it that you really like. But it may not be easy. Some of you will not know for sure when you walk out of here tonight what you want to do. Some of you do know what you want to do. But if you can figure that out, I would say it makes it easier to get out of bed every morning with a little bit of intention in your mind and a little more spring in your step. But for those of you that haven't figured that out, don't wring your hands and worry too much about it. Just keep trying, keep working, keep plugging at it, and don't be afraid to take risks. If you're going to fail at something, it's good to fail when you're young. Fail often, fail fast, start over again. Eventually you'll figure it out. But you got to try, you got to keep trying, and eventually you'll find where you align, your things that matter to you will align with what you find out you're going to do to earn a living. So hang in there. So with that, I'm going to stop on trying to give you all the life lessons because you're probably not listening at this point anyway, but I hope you are. And I'll try to close. So today does mark a milestone as this chapter closes and another opens. The story ahead, I'm certain, is full of opportunity. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics or Google or wherever I look to find this number, but I know it's out there in multiple sources, there's 7.5 million open jobs in the United States right now where there's not good candidates to fill them. That doesn't even count the unmet needs in a community like this for somebody who wants to start a business or be an entrepreneur. So the journey ahead of you and the opportunity ahead of you is vast. It's built not on just what you've learned to date, but it's built on what you've become and what you aspire to achieve. So I'll encourage you as you leave here tonight to never forget where you've come from. I believe you have come from a part of the country and a part of the world where you learned the right things, you learned the right DNA, as I called it, about how to treat each other, what's really important in life, how to get along with other people, how to get things done. And remember that your attitude will help paint the world of opportunity and possibility. Don't be afraid to hold yourself and others around you accountable. Work hard and do the hard work. And what I mean by that, I know you will work hard, but do the hard work to figure out what it's going to take for you to become the best version of yourself that you can become. And then finally, let your life be anchored in some sense of purpose, ultimately guided by what really matters to you. But above all, I would say, don't forget about relationships. This journey we're on in life means little if we don't have meaningful relationships. So when I think about what happened with me in my 38 and a half years, sure, I miss the game, I miss going to the office, I miss the work, but what I really miss is all the people, all the friends I was with every day, and all the good times we had trying to solve problems. So don't forget about that. Value those relationships, nurture those relationships, because you can't have too many friends and too many relationships as you go through life. There will be times when you need every one of them to help you get through the bumps and bruises. So with that, class of 25, the world is waiting for you. Go out there, kick butt, take names, remember where you came from, leave here proud of your accomplishments, but also with courage, confidence, and belief that you can and you will make a difference. Congratulations, good luck, and Godspeed.